Welcome to the Igetit session, Introduction of Basic Approach to the new NX Sketcher. My name is Eric Banson. I'm a subject matter expert for Igetit here at Tata Technologies. And today in this session, I'm going to be talking about the new NX Sketcher, and we'll touch topics such as learning to enable and disable the new NX Sketch. We'll explore the user interface of the new NX Sketch and some features. And we'll create a sketch using the new sketch features. Now, this is basically a basic approach. We have a course that goes into much more detail. And again, I'll just be touching on some of the basics of the new sketch and the features of it. Now, before we get into the new NX Sketch and its features, I want to take a moment to talk about the new Igetit website. As you can see here, we have a new website, and the course I was talking about for the new NX Sketcher is in here. Now, if we come to here, we can go ahead and select right from this window here. We can also go up to Courses. And here we have all the different types of CAD software that we offer. Now we can come into NX and select that. And if you come across the top here, we have filter by category, where you can select your CAD software. Here we'll leave it at NX, and you can go into the topics. Let's go ahead and select the Sketcher topic. And we can also even go by release. The one I'll be talking about will be using the 2007 series of NX version. And we also have a filter by skill level. Now if we take a look here, we can find, here's the course that I'm referring to, the NX 2007 series new sketch for existing classic sketch users. And here you can go ahead and select on to view more details. And this will give you the table of contents of the course. And as you can see here, it is much more in-depth of a sketcher than we've had before. And this course will walk you through and give you projects and procedures and lessons on how to use the new sketch in NX. Now, once you sign up or purchase a plan, you'll be able to go to this site. This is inside the website, and as you can see here, we have my dashboard, and on the left we have learning, quick start, tech tips, author, account, and so on. If I select learning, you notice across the top we have these tabs. The one that we are in right now is the catalog, which will take you to all the different CAD softwares that we offer with courses. And if we go ahead and select NX, you'll see that there's many courses within just the NX category. Now we can also go by releases. Let's go ahead and select the NX 2007 series. And if you see here, we have just these, but here again is the new sketch for existing classic sketch users. Let's go ahead and select on it. And again, here's the table of contents. There are also part files for you to download. And let's go ahead and actually open this up. We're going to start the course here and just take a quick overview. As you can see here, and we can come down and we can look into the actual projects themselves that you would then go through. And all these models or sketches that you see here are in the part files that you'll be able to download and then place into NX and then follow along and create the sketch. So with that said, let's go ahead and get into some basic approaches to the new NX Sketch. So let's first go ahead and talk about enabling and disabling the new NX sketch. To do that, let's go ahead up to the File tab, and you can do this while a part is open or not open. In this case, it's not open, and it's a best practice to do it at this point. And now let's go ahead under File and go to Utilities, and within Utilities we're going to go to Early Access Feature. Now the Early Access Feature, if we go all the way down to the bottom, we'll find Use the new solver and UI for sketching. And by default, within 2007 series, in NX, it is always on. If I right click over it, notice then I can turn it off. Now, it is recommended for a company to choose one or the other environment, as the older version sketch or the classic sketch can be converted to the new sketches, but you can't go back. So once an existing part file has, let's say it's classic sketch converted, or a new part has a new sketch created, the part file is forced to stay in the new sketch mode permanently. So if users individually control which environment they prefer and share part file data, the part file will dictate what environment must be used regardless of which is enabled in the session. So the users who prefer the legacy or the older environment will be frustrated, to say, as the new sketch version will often be forced on them. Moving forward, this will be the definitive sketch version, which is the new sketch. So once you have that selected, we can go into Sketch. And let's go ahead, and we're first going to go to a new part. I'm going to select a model and open. And I'm going to come into here. And next I'm going to go ahead and up under Home, I'm going to select Sketch. And I'm going to get the Create Sketch dialog up here. And in it, I'm going to go ahead and select on plane. And if we look in here, we have under Sketch Plane, we have something new that's Show Principal Planes. If I select that check to make it disappear, notice we're back to the original coordinate system. If I select that again, we get the new planes, and if I hover over them, notice that I can select them just as if I'm selecting the old coordinate system planes, as you see down here. Now in the course, you can take a look at under orientation, is you would use this when you're trying to create, let's say, a sketch on a part, and you can use any type of horizontal reference or a type of origin point to then put a sketch on. But for this, we're going to keep it kind of simple, and we're going to go ahead and in this mode, I'm going to go ahead and select the top and select OK. And if you notice here, we have a much cleaner sketch area. Now, compared to the classic sketch, the commands within the ribbon bar groups, such as Sketch, Curve, and Edit, are primarily identical. The sketch group functions are fully identical to the classic version sketch, but for curve creation, some of the operation commands such as offset, pattern, mirror will contain a new toggle within settings. Now the majority of these functions and how curves are created and applied are the same. The edit tools such as trim are also identical. So this isn't a complete redo of the functions and features in the ribbon bar. Other than some reorganization, the functions themselves perform the same as the classic sketch. Now the new commands are basically in the solve group. And one of the main characteristics of the new sketch are the functions within this solve group. These group of commands are mainly toggles and options to control the behaviors of sketch objects and as a sketch is developed. So toggles to display symbols of information or colors are used to identify what is complete or incomplete. We have relax functions that are used to free objects, allowing any object to be movable. Multiple functions control how and what relations are found. We also have the options group, as you can see in here. And then we have the rapid dimension. Now, I'm not going to go into all of these because it'll take a very long time. But again, this is all in the course within Igetit. And I'll just show you a few of these things. So let's go ahead first and let's create some shapes. I'm going to go ahead and select a rectangle just as you would in the classic sketch. I'm going to click and drag out a rectangle here. And if we notice here that the field of the rectangle has a shaded color to it. And if I go ahead and let's go ahead and create another rectangle, and I'm going to place it in here. And notice that it shows that this shade is different from the other shade to show that we have a sketch on top of a sketch. Now, if I go to trim, just as in the classic, I can select, and if you notice, I can just trim just as usual. And if I go ahead and say close that out, and let's go ahead and put a circle in here. We can do that as well. So it acts the same way as the classic sketch. And we're going to go ahead and talk about some of the solve functions, as well as the scene bar, which is right here, which is used to move sketch objects to new sizes and positions. So if I hover over these, they'll say make coincident. This is make collinear, and you could probably guess this is horizontal, vertical, tangent, parallel, perpendicular, as you can see all the way through. So let's go ahead and create some dimensions. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to just hover my crosshairs over this line here. Notice it turns red, and I'm going to go ahead and select it. And when I do that, you can see a faint box where it will allow me to convert that line to a reference. I can hide it, or I can edit the display of it. So if I select on that, I can edit the display, color change, layer, and then also I can also delete that if I can get that to come back up. And basically there it is. And then I can delete that selected object. Now, as far as creating a dimension, you basically just select a line and then click, hold, and drag, and notice it's then selected. Now, here's where the user interface works with the solving, and the power of the new sketch is basically allows me to, at this point, select to drag that just this line, and then anything associated with it will move as well with it. And if I select this side, both sides move at the same time, as you can see here. And you can also see when I select on it that it is already has a horizontal relation, and it shows that the relations to the other lines, these are vertical. And up here for the distance, I can change the distance up here to say, let's say make it 800. And that line is now 800. And then when you're done with what you're doing, you just go ahead and select anywhere else, and then you have your dimension. That also works with, say, a circle. If I go ahead and select the edge of the circle, notice already, and I select on the dimension, and it shows me the diameter. And then I also can select on the arrowhead here, and I can expand or contract the circle to whatever diameter I want. I can also right click on it, and if I had an expression, I can add or remove it, or I can convert that to, say, a radius as opposed to diameter. When I'm finished, just click away in an open field, and you can see that that is our circle at 230 millimeters diameter. Now, if I hover over the circle again, I can show you that since this circle is not tied to anything, if I go ahead and hover over, it'll put a little sphere in the center that I can click, hold, and drag and move that right out of the rectangle. But if I get close to something, notice that it's going to make it tangent. Now if I want to basically place this, select this line just like we do in the other. Classic sketch, and then select up in the scene bar to make tangent. I can also make it tangent there again. Now this is where I can come up to here within solve, and if I want to say move this, because if I select on this and I want to move it right now, I can't. It will just be tangent to that side of our rectangle, and actually could get caught on this line as well, being tangent. So if I want to move that, I have to then relax the relation that I created there. So I would go ahead and select relax relations, and I would basically then, with our circle selected, I would then find where are the relation that I want to relax, and it's right there. You can see that tangent line, that blue line. Select on that. I can then grab center of my circle, and then I can move it away. Then reselect to toggle off the relax relations, and then if I grab this and I go towards it again and I select the line and select make tangent, it's tangent again. Now I can do the same thing but with dimensions. So if I need to create some dimensions, so I'm going to select, click and drag this guy out here like this, select and click on the out and away, and then I'm going to do the same thing here to create some dimensions. I want to lock down basically this part. To give you an example, now when I have all these dimensions on my part, notice it's moving because it's not dimensioned to my axis. So what I can do here is select relax dimensions. With that on, as you can see, I can then select a line, and notice now I can move this to whatever area I want. And once I'm happy with what I got, I can then reselect and turn that off. And now notice I cannot change any of these dimensions. Now one of the other toggle commands we can use is the show movable. With that off, notice that I've changed the colors of my lines. If I select on it again, notice they turn brown. This basically toggles to color code sketch curves, which can be moved by performing a dragging action. The default color, like I said, is brown. The brown curves are not fully defined. So if I go ahead and I select, say we'll take that and select there. Now notice all the lines with show movable are black. That means I can't move them. And basically what it is showing me what is movable. What is movable is the circle. It has the brown curve line. So I can grab that and I can move it, but it is tangent. I can't take it off that side because it is tangent there. And I would then need to relax relations between the circle and this rectangle piece. But it is best practice to leave the show movable command always on. So in summary, we've learned to enable and disable the new sketch. We've explored the Create Sketch dialog, where we've come to this point by creating a sketch. We've kind of looked at the new Solve group, and we've also here created a sketch and some dimensions and seen the differences with the scene bar and the relationships between some of the sketches within the sketch itself. So with that, I encourage you to visit the Igetit website. It is new. Take a look at our offerings within NX or any other CAD software that you're interested in. And thank you for attending.